All right, so let me show you why your image is expanding when it's next to an accordion block in Squarespace 7.1 and how you can fix it without code. So here I have my image with the corresponding accordion block on the side. And if you've had this issue before on a client project, you already know what's gonna happen when I click on one of these questions. So once I start opening up the different drop downs of the accordion block, the image just keeps expanding and expanding and expanding on based on the content that we have inside the answers. Now, the reason for this is pretty simple. It has to do with the underlying grid that we use to place items inside sections in Fluid Engine. So if we take a look in the Inspect Element tool, and then we stand on the grid itself, which is what we see in the edit mode. If I turn this on, you're going to see that the accordion block is currently covering 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 rows. Now, the problem here is that the grid system is fairly rigid. It works similarly to Excel spreadsheets. So because we've set the content to cover this number of rows, when more space is needed because we're opening up the collapsed portion, the browser cannot simply choose to make the accordion block cover more rows. Instead, it expands the height of the rows. So here, if I open this up, you're going to see how the height of these rows starts becoming a little bit bigger. And then with this one, that one becomes a little bit bigger. And then here, bigger again. And the thing is that the image is sitting in an area where those rows are also located. So because the height has to be even across the entirety of the row, then the image block only has the option to expand as well. One of the ways that you can fix this is by simply changing the image block to the fit or the shape option. Now, that may still not give you the exact result that you want, but it can still help a little bit. On the other hand, if you absolutely have to work with the fill option the way that I'm doing here, then what I recommend as a solution is to simply stretch out the accordion block so that it goes beyond the limits of the image. That is going to give it first enough space to try to fit as much content as possible, and second, empty rows to stretch out if more space is needed. So let me show you what that looks like. Usually what I see is the accordion block match the height of the image. But again, this is going to cause the same problem if the content of the accordion block is taller than the image. And that's something that usually happens when you reach tablet sizes. So instead of trying to fight with the size of the image or the size of the accordion block, you can go ahead and simply expand the accordion block one row over, either to the top or to the bottom or both sides, depending on where you're aligning the accordion block. And that is just going to create the extra space that it needs. So here, if I were to refresh this site, if I start opening up the different questions, you can see how first there's not room needed yet for all the content to fit in, but once I reach that limit, what's going to happen is that the browser is going to start expanding those empty rows down here. And because the image is not sitting in those rows, it's not going to expand anymore. All right, and that's it. That's everything that I have for you today. I really hope that you enjoyed this quick tip and that you're able to use it on your current and future client projects. If you like this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up or let me know in the comments down below. In any case, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.